August the 14th is a special day, not only for the Haitian people, but for people who love and live by the vibe and the spirit and the call and promise of Pan-Africanism. Tell us about why August the 14th is such a special day.
So today is a very special day, as you have briefly said it before with this wonderful opening. Exactly 230 years ago, on August 14, 1791, we had the Wakaïman ceremony held near Cap Haïtien here in Haiti, with some very important figures like Bookman, who was Voodoo Prière, Cécile Fatima, Jean-Baptiste Vixama Le Grand, and all the generals that fought for the independence, like Dessalines. They gathered together and they decided to revolt, to launch the revolution against the white, the French, who who enslaved them, and when they would take them, who took them from Africa and brought them in Haiti and enslaved them and forced them to work for enriching those European nations. So the Wakaïman ceremony was the very first, in my opinion, Pan-African Congress, because all those slaves came from all over Africa and they gathered together and they decided to launch a revolution to found this first Black nation here in the Americas. So it is a very special day here in Haiti, and I believe also for all the Black people around the world.
However, what Garvey needed was the input of women who knew how to organize. And so, for example, Amy Ashford Garvey was his personal secretary, but she also became the secretary of the organization. And he was very taken back by her confidence, very confident woman who was able to challenge and debate him. So she didn't just take what he said at face value. She was able to challenge and go back and forth with him. And I guess that, indeed her love towards his sort of helped them to cement their relationship. He loved her very dearly, I do believe. And I would say that she sharpened his critical thinking skills, if anything. Sharpened. The philosophy was already there, but she sharpened his critical thinking skills.
I'm so delighted to have in the room Bello from Haiti, who is a wonderful Haitian musician who's been a great part of ICJ for quite some time.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello, my brothers and sisters from Africa and the diaspora. My name is Bello. I'm from Haiti, and I'm very, very happy to be here. Hey, comment ça?
Parce que moi j'aime la vivre, pas rencontrer nos mauvaises affaires, même si c'est vrai la victime.
What is the current situation on the ground in Haiti?
The current situation is, still precarious. We don't have a president. The presidency is vacant. We have a prime minister that the former president Jovenel Moïse appointed before he died, 2 days actually before he died, and the election has been postponed for November because in February 2022 we should have a new elected president for 5 years and a new parliament as well, because we don't have a parliament, and new mayors. So it will be an important democratic moment for the Asian people.
Do you think that young people around the continent of Africa and throughout the diaspora can make a difference as it relates to influencing America's policy toward Haiti moving forward, as well as the behavior of the United Nations and the European Union as it relates to their policies toward Haiti becoming more equitable?
African American, they gain visibility in the past months with the Black Lives Matters movement and other initiatives. And I believe that Haiti should be put on the package, because racism is not only an internal reality, it is also a global reality. You have racism in international relations, and it is more subtle because people tend to accept it. But I believe that the young activists, the young African American activists should also, lobby the Biden government to have a new approach towards Haiti. We can't do the same thing again and again and again. We should try new approaches with Haiti. We should empower Haitian, not bring charity, not bring food or whatever. Actions should be sustainable, and everything should be done in respect and dignity for the Haitian people, and they should have a voice. So use the new technologies and convene together with other activists and with Haitian, try to understand the situation. And also you can write to your representative, the one who are American citizen. You can write to your representative to share your concerns about how the relationship between Haiti and the US are. You can call their office. There are a lot of things that you can do. You have a voice, so make that voice heard. Because
I hear you saying leverage digital platforms to amplify an equivocal Pan-African voice that lifts up a positive message as it relates to change in Haiti. What would you say are the priorities for young Haitians as it relates to advancing their lives politically, socially, and economically?
More opportunities for young Haitians, with more economic opportunities, more academic opportunities, more access to technology, because this is the future of the world. The world is moving fast, and we can't sit back and the people from the outside, when they come, they give us like the basic thing to live, like food and water and all of that. No, yes, we need that as well, but we need more than that. We need technology, we need education, we need economic opportunities. So I believe that should be the message that we should carry.
Do we also need to have a campaign on the ground in Haiti that pushes back against corruption?
It's like a vicious circle, because if you have corruption, you won't have a strong state. And if you don't have a strong state, you will have corruption. So it's like a vicious circle, a big problem. And I believe that every young activist here in Haiti, if they want a true change, that should call for the end, concrete action for the end of corruption. I also believe that we can use technology to do that. We can use apps, we can use some social media to denounce corruption, because corruption is something that is happening at every level.
Is there a clear common thread between the issues that the Haitian people are facing and what Afro-Brazilian young people are dealing with, African-American young people, Afro-Colombians, African young people across the continent? Is there a clear common thread?
And I believe that common thread is economic. I'm not someone who is, you have some people who are like obsessed with economy, but over the years, I can see that if you don't have the economic opportunities, you won't have a voice, you won't have opportunities to do change. So I believe the common thread would be the fact that the young black people, they don't have access to the same university that the wealthy and sometimes the mulattoes or the white people in those countries are having. They don't have access to banks like others have. They don't have access to government in some places, as other people are having. So I think the economic problems are the common thread among those countries.
We, as Black people, not only have a common history, but we also have a common struggle and a common destiny. And speaking on to what Louisa just said, is that we stand firm in solidarity, knowing that the same challenges that Haitian face, are the same challenges that a Ghanaian faces, the same challenges that a Rwandan faces. And that being said, you see, for example, as we are converged here, majority of us come from the youth population. As it is in the African continent, 70% of the population is made up of youth themselves. So you just imagine the force that we have within the diaspora. And this in itself can be able to spur political, social, and economic transformation as it is. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to meet our minds together and try to collaborate.
Mentioned by our colleague Musk was a disappropriate use of police force against protesters. However peaceful a protest may be, we have he ran for president, but didn't go through. But what he's going through right now is actually very painful. His movement is monitored even without him doing anything bad. He's called Honorable Chagulani. He was beaten during his campaign. He refused to campaign, yet the other people are allowed to freely campaign, and it's like no one was backing him up, no one was touched about it. So this police brutality is one of the main things injuring Uganda. And I also saw it's happening in Haiti, and it's we need to rise up and find solutions for this. So as I'm saying, one of the activities that ICJ promotes is our activities are geared towards creating a sense of brotherhood and collaborating among all peoples of African descent, whether you're in Africa, whether in the States. This is what ICJ is doing now, and our movement will make a difference.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Hazel, for connecting the dots and speaking to these commonalities with regard to foreign neglect, foreign debt, corruption, vulnerability to natural disasters, state-sanctioned violence, and the ways in which opposition movements have been so crushed and shut down in Uganda. And certainly that's a common theme throughout other places on the continent and in other Black nations.
Here we are. We said thank you for this great day for the world, celebrating our persecutor, the Father Marcus Garvey, with brothers and sisters from all over the world, with Haiti and other countries of the world. So this is a very honored day. And I know and I believe Marcus is seeing us and he's watching this great day. It's the right time for all the people of African descent to get interconnected as a Pan-African movement, build a global movement that is there for changing things, as my brother Lou said, that changing the mind is changing the body. So we need to get interconnected globally, just in order to face our issues. As related to Eri, what I can say, we have many issues that are related to Eri and Congo. So in Congo, as we can say, in Eri, we have understood many things, but I think that we have the same problems as Africans, and we need to look for the same solutions. The meddling of international people in African life or in African wealth or resources. You know, at the time being, Africa is not for Africans. Why? The meddling of international people in Africa. So why they want to involve in Africa? Because of our resources, because of our wealth. And at this time, the matter of opportunity. So they help us, but there is an opportunity just behind the help. So our resources is the big issue that is, specifically in Congo, that is making Congo suffer. There is displacement of many people in their villages. Every time they're kidnapped, people are kidnapped. Every time we got many problems that around there. The first thing is resources. And I mean that the resources are being stolen and the Africans are suffering. My brother did not mention the lack of information, access to information. You know, we are united globally and get the true information we need, because when there is rape, when there is when our goods are stolen, the information are not given as they should be given. There is no information that we have as African descent that we deserve to have. So all those international channels, they have the information that they give, but the information we need, what we are crossing, what we are living, are not the true information they are giving. So what is on the ground is different to what they are giving as information. So if we are interconnected, we can have true information of our life, and we can have, when you have information, then you can look for the solution because you are well informed of what is going on. But when you are badly informed, you cannot look for good solution. So let me tell you, the people who are looting our wealth are the people who are holding media. They are holding the channels. They are holding everything. So we don't have the true informations. People who are dying on the ground, or people who are kidnapped, the true reality on the ground is not the reality on the media we listen to. So this is the right time. So we can also think about information system.
It's a pleasure for me to be here from Colombia and to have the opportunity to celebrate Marcus Garvey life and sharing with all people throughout different countries. But we come together for the same reason. We're Black people who are looking to get solutions and create coalitions in order to thrive and overcome all the difficult situations that we all share in our different countries. In Colombia, like many people around the globe doesn't know that in Colombia we have a really large, big population. Actually, I live in Cali, where is the second largest like South American city that hosts like the biggest population in South America of Afro-Colombian, of Afro-descendant people. And that's an information that many people doesn't know. And then we need to understand that most of those people is not just like are not just eliminated from the big picture about Colombia and what's happening in Colombia, but also the condition that those people is living. Like, for example, we suffer also from the extractive industries that they want to take over the lands that has been ancestrally occupied by Black people in different places of the country, but mostly like Black people is in the Pacific coast, where most of the there's a lot of natural resources that has been like extracted by multinationals that are allowed for the government, and right now want that all Black people that has been ancestrally living there, like just abandon those lands and let them like take all the resources, but not just like give all the resources, but also like killing all that people. And the state neglect all the people in those areas in order to like make like harder and harder to survive in those states and places. So those two are one of the things that we also think we share in the are things that are widely happening in different parts of the African people in African countries. And right now that we have the opportunity to hear so close from Haiti and for all the struggles that they are having over there, we really see the connections. We see how like there are many things that are happening in our country that even when we have like different language and like political situations also, but the struggles at the end are the same. And that's things that I think that the Pan-Africanism is helping us, like having this platform where we can connect, where we can share our struggles, let us like plan and think together strategies in order to overcome those barriers.
First, I wanted to jump on something that Pastor Prosper said just about access to information and the ability to tell our stories. Something that Jesus said was, as a man thinketh, so shall he be. So when our enemies are controlling our access to information, when they're painting the narrative about us locally, but also about us internationally, we lose out on the information that we need to act as people of African descent in a global Pan-African way. You know, if you look at the way the world portrays Haiti, the way the media portrays much of Africa to us here in the U.S., it's that, you know, Africa is impoverished, you know, that these are third world countries where, you know, they really have nothing to contribute. And so us people of African descent, we have a low self-esteem about ourselves. We have a low self-esteem about our international community because we're not being fed the greatness of our ancestry, only, you know, how colonization, how slavery has really crippled our community internationally. We need to organize on a grassroots level. Yes, my brother said economic warfare in the chat. We need to organize on a grassroots level and not just depend on our government. Of course, we need to use our voices to affect the government, but we also need to leverage our dollars and build our own institutions. And when we kind of separate ourselves from a system that's oppressive to us, now we can bargain with that system from a sense of power because we are not dependent on that system. So I believe that in the global African community, we need to be investing in our schools, our hospitals, our media institutions. Diversity, inclusion inside of other people's institutions are wonderful, but I believe that our only true freedom will come from owning our own institutions and then bargaining with the powers that be versus coming from a sense of dependency.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea.
I believe that coming out of this event, that one of the tactics that we will announce is that Interconnected Justice will host a formal youth-powered virtual World Congress in which we will invite in members of the United States government, members of the United Nations, as well as members of parliament in the countries where Interconnected Justice serves and resides, and that we must now have a global conversation about a new foreign policy from the United States, new foreign policy from the European Union as it relates to Africa and Black nations in the Western Hemisphere. Foreign policy can no longer be dictated by a war between the United States and China in which Africa is squeezed in the middle. Foreign policy can no longer be dictated by the utility of Africa as it relates to fighting the war on terror, but foreign policy must be dictated by a deep connection and support of populist Pan-Africanist movement building all across the continent and the diaspora. The United States and the United Nations should be standing with young people who are invested in opposition movements that are driving participatory government, which will yield greater economic opportunity for them in the continent and all over the world.